What's going on, everybody? Wanted to take a look at this Nebo Blueline flashlight that I just picked up a couple weeks ago. Been trying it out, testing it out, and I wanted to kind of give you guys my thoughts and opinions on it. This one I got at Sport Chalet. I believe is around $25, maybe a little less, maybe like $24. But you know, I'd never had a Nebo light before, and I wanted to give them a chance and just kind of try them out, see how I liked it. Let's go ahead and weigh it up front. Weigh it first. Give you guys a weight on it. Now this is a single AA battery flashlight. I do have a standard AA battery in there right now. Actually, you know what? That's a lithium battery. Let me just weigh it with no battery at all, and we'll see what we get. Looking at about 2.3 ounce. A little bit heavier than the typical 1AA lights that we're used to seeing, but it's still reasonably lightweight. Let me go ahead and close this back up. Take the scale out of here. Let's talk about, I think I'm going to talk about some things that I like about the light first, and then I'll get into some critical things about the light. If you don't want to watch the review, I think it's a pretty good light for around 25 bucks. Reasonably bright, has some interesting features that we're going to talk about, but I think it's a good light overall. Some things that I like about it: it's kind of stylish, has a cool metallic look to it, silver type look, different from your typical all black flashlight that we're used to seeing with Phoenix and some of these other flashlight makers, but it does have an interesting appeal to it. Kind of the market of this flashlight, I would say, or the features that they're trying to market, is the fact that it does have a what's it called, magnetic tail cap. So this will actually stick onto steel. This is magnetic right here, as you saw when I was taking it back off. It was kind of sticking to the battery, this portion of the tail cap. So that's kind of interesting. You can attach it to let's say you're working on an engine compartment and you needed to have hands-free lighting. You could magnetically attach it to something, and kind of a neat feature. Haven't really used that much, honestly. The magnet seems reasonably strong, but it's not anything to write home about. It does have a glow-in-the-dark tail cap switch, clicky. It does not have momentary on, so if you click it forward, I think that's a reverse clicky. When you let go of the click, it turns on. But if you click it in once, it will not turn on. It doesn't come on until you let go of the clicky. And it does not memorize modes. Now, speaking of modes, it has two modes. It has a high mode, which is 130 lumens, so they say. And then you have a strobe. And the way you access it is you soft press. It goes from the high mode to your strobe mode, your tactical strobe mode, so they say. Real simple operation. If you turn it off and right back on, it'll go into the strobe. If you wait a couple seconds in between turning it off and on, then it will still come on, I believe, in the high mode. Could be wrong. So that was high. We'll wait a couple seconds and see if it goes straight to the strobe or if it goes back to the high mode. Yeah, so if you wait a couple seconds in between turning it off and on, it'll go right back to your high mode. But if you turn it off and on quickly, it'll switch through modes. So also another cool feature is that when you have the light on, this little blue ring on the head kind of glows. I'm going to turn off the lighting here so you can see. But that's kind of cool when you light it up. It has kind of a cool little look to it. It sort of glows. Not glows, it's blue lighting, basically. The light shines through that plastic, and it feels like a plastic, not a rubber. So it's kind of a cool little feature. This light has somewhat of a spot to flood. They say 1x to 4x. Basically, there's your throwing mode to throw the light as far as it can go, and then if you rotate it counterclockwise, it goes kind of into more of a flood light. The lens on this is not your typical parabolic reflector. This is kind of an aspherical lens. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a reflector in there, but the top portion is sort of an aspherical lens design. I'm not exactly sure on the technical terms, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. It does have a crenellated bezel. This is such a small light, though, that I'm not sure you're ever going to use it as any kind of a weapon, but I suppose if you really wanted to use it as an impact weapon, you could. Not recommending that you do that, and not saying that that's going to be effective because I've never tried it. It does have a pocket clip. It's a steel pocket clip. Pretty sturdy. I'd say it's about average as far as pocket clips go. There's your logo right there, Blueline by Nebo. Kind of cool looking. The pocket clip does come off, as you can see right there, but that's the only place that you can put it. And you can't really reverse it, so that's the only carry option you have like that. So yeah, you know, I think it's reasonably bright. It's, you know, it's not, I can't really say whether it's 130 lumens because I don't have a light meter, but it seems like it's not quite 130 lumens to my eyes, but it's really hard to tell, and really it's kind of unfair for me to say that, I guess. But you know, I expected it to be just a little bit brighter, but it still is reasonably bright. As I say, it does take one single AA battery. I've used both alkaline and lithium primary batteries, and they both work well. Runtime on it is going to be about 3.5 hours on your high mode. So they say, I think I've maybe gotten like 3 hours. And I'm not sure if it automatically cuts off or it just slowly declines the brightness. But I've found that I got pretty bright light for about 3 hours. You know, reasonably bright. The thing about this beam is it doesn't have a whole lot of flood. If you're on the spot mode, you can kind of see that there's the center beam that throws out, but there's not much spill, not much floodlight. So, in my opinion, it's not the best walking light, although you can go to your flood mode. But I'll do some beam shots, mostly inside. I'm not going to do outdoor beam shots, I don't think, because it's just not that bright to pick up on camera. But, you know, overall, it's a cool light for around 24, 25 bucks. I think it's a good buy. The LED does have a really blue tint to it. It's a really blue tint. Some like that, some don't. I personally don't. Doesn't bother me. I don't care either way. Although I would prefer a warmer tint, but really not. You know, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, but overall, it's got some good features. I think that the craftsmanship is not the greatest. I can see some scuff marks when I first bought it. The threads aren't very smooth. There's some grime and grit in there. Not sure if you're gonna see that, but yeah, the threads aren't the greatest, and I can see some scratches on the light. I don't know if this was maybe an open box item or a display one. That could be the case, but you know, it looks good. It looks cool. It's just you know, it's not perfect. Nothing can be, but for 24 bucks, what can you expect? If I had it to do over again, I probably would have just bought another Phoenix E11 and not this light, but I wanted to give Nebo a try and pick up something new. So, you know, overall, it's a good buy. I'm going to go ahead and show some beam shots. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and stay tuned for the beam shots. Alright, so we're looking at beam shots of the Nebo Blueline. Here it is, the high mode. There's only one brightness mode besides the strobe. We're looking at about 25 feet indoors. That door right there is about 25 feet. You can see it's reasonably bright. That is the tightest you can focus the beam, so that's basically the throwing mode or the spotlight. I'd say it's pretty bright. You know, it's hard to say how many lumens it is, but you can tell that there's not much spill, not much flood on that mode. If you move it out to the floodlight, it's got a nice floody beam. Look at that, you know. We're still at 25 feet, and it's throwing a pretty good beam. I've noticed that it's probably useful 15, 20 yards. Anything over that might be pushing it, but overall, I think it's a good light. There you have the blue ring that's kind of glowing. You can see there around the head of the light. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope the review was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.